Should you shock someone before you train them? What's up, everyone? I want to welcome you to another episode of Hypnotic Storytelling. And today, we're going to be talking about the ultimate formula to help you teach and train at a level that satisfies both the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. Like, have you ever been to a really boring lecture or someone that teaches very badly? You are not going to be one of those people. The way that I'm going to share with you today will help you to make an impact at a whole nother level so that you can be remembered, so that your information can be remembered, but also people will just feel amazing when you're speaking. And I'm going to take you through the exact template that will help you to share information that makes an impact, that makes a difference, that teaches more effectively, more powerfully, and covers more people. So let's get rolling. All right. So the first part of any powerful presentation, if you're teaching something, is to create a pattern interrupt. What's a pattern interrupt? It's like a curiosity statement, a shocking statement. So I came on and said, is it okay to shock people when you start to teach them? Something like that, just creating a bit of curiosity. Why? Because first of all, it's a pattern interrupt. Every other speaker comes up and just says, well, excuse me, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here today. I'm going to be very excited to serve. No, you don't want any of that. You want to you want to hook people straight off the bat. You want them to pay attention. Your first 4 seconds are probably the most critical. That's when people make up their minds whether they want to listen to you or not. So that's why, number one, you got to start with some shocking statement, create curiosity, ask a question, whatever it is, but you create a bit of curiosity. Now, I'm going to be going through something called the format system for teaching, okay? And basically there's 4 elements to the format system, right? The format system, right? And it's taking because some people want to know why they're learning something. Some people want to know what it is that they're going to learn. Some people want to learn how to do it. And some people just want, how do they apply it in the real life? The what if, okay? So when you take people through all 4, you are covering the wider audience. Plus, people have a bit of each anyhow. So you want to, we're going to be taking you through this system. So that's just a side note. Just be aware that we're taking people through the format system. And the beginning section, what we're going to cover is the why. Okay, so why? So what I like to start off with when I'm sharing information is some element that they know is true, a relatable experience that is something that they don't want to do. Okay, so for example, I would start off by saying, have you ever been to one of these lectures where, you have that chemistry teacher, he's standing up at the beginning, at the front of the class, and he is just speaking monotonously, and you just really don't pay attention. Have you ever, you know what I'm talking about? So I've given them a relatable experience that they don't want, okay? Something that's true, something that they know. So first of all, I will start off by giving them something they don't want, an away from experience, something that they can relate to. And then I would ask a question. This is, remember, why is the motivation question. So like, how would you like a 5-step system so that you don't bore your audience and instead you edutain at a level that gets people results and gets you remembered, referred, and rewarded? How would you like that? Okay, so you ask a question that motivates. So, and the question can be along these lines. How would you like a 5-step? So this is setting up what you want to teach, okay? The next thing is you tell them what it is that you're going to teach. So today, I'm going to be talking about the framework that will teach you how to teach anything very powerfully, okay? Or today, I'm going to be talking about something called the satire categories. Or today, I'm going to be sharing with you my ultimate teaching formula, training formula, workshop formula, whatever it is. What are you talking about? So you tell them what it is I'm going to be talking about today. So this is where everybody starts, but before you start, you see, like before where everybody starts, I go a couple of steps forward. All right. I have a couple of steps prior to that. Okay, so that was the why section. Okay, you've gone through the why. The next is the what section. What are you going to be sharing with people? So let's go through that. So here's the what. Now, what the first part of a what is, I like to use a metaphor. Now, a metaphor allows you to connect things that they don't know with things that they know. Okay, ask Mama, just wait for Mom. See, this is what happens on a live video. So the metaphors are very powerful because they connect a world that they don't know, which is your knowledge, with a world that they know already. Okay, with some examples. So you've got to connect. It's like Google Translate. It's like it connects things that they don't understand with something they understand very well. So I would put in a metaphor like this is one I used recently, just saying, imagine for a burger to be called a burger, it needs a couple of ingredients. You need the burger and then you need the buns. Then you can spice it up with your preferences, but you need the basic ingredients in order for it to be called a metaphor. In order for it to be called a burger. And it's the same with a story. It's the same with, and then I can talk about whatever here. But I like to put in a metaphor because it connects a world that they understand with the world that you know and they don't know yet. Okay? So when I start off my what section, I first start with a metaphor. Then I give them a story of how I learned this information or earned this information. Now, this is perhaps also like it motivates them, but stories are number one hypnotic. They take people on a journey. Also, and it's not just stories are also entertaining, but it doesn't just entertain the person. Number one, you can educate people within the story. They start to realize why this is valuable because if you're using a story, you're telling them how you struggled initially, how you came across the information, and then what happened as a result of the information. So when you're taking people through that journey, they start to realize how valuable the information is that you're sharing. So you take people through a story of how you learned or earned it. All right. So, and then, and within your story, add some credibility. So you're not just saying, hey, and then I just tried this thing and it worked, like I'm so smart. No, you're creating credibility by just, you learned it because you were speaking to someone and apparently there was a study done at Harvard that proved blah, 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 blah. Okay. So what most people do is they talk about the credibility as facts. And the problem is that when you're talking about the credibility as facts, it's very boring. However, when you use it within a story, it can entertain, it can motivate, it can transform people. So you take people through creating credibility within your story. All right. So that's the next one. Create credibility within your story. And then I like to use, once you've done the story, there's a big learning point. And I like to take out a sentence that's less than 10 words that rhymes. And I call it the phrase that pays. Now, that's not my term, by the way, but it's the phrase that pays. Now, what I do is I'll repeat that at the end of the story. So I'll go, and remember, the phrase that pays. And I'll say it a couple of times, and what will happen is what people will take away from the story, from your lesson, is this phrase. If you say it powerfully enough, if it rhymes, if it's short enough, if it rhymes, if you interconnect it with the story and then you repeat it a little bit later, people will remember the phrase that pays. So, and you can see what I'm doing over there is exactly like I would do when I'm teaching. Every once in a while, I'll just bring it up again and again because the unconscious mind likes rhythm, repetition, repetition, and rhyme. Okay, so as you can see, I'm repeating, yeah. So, and it's rhyming. So, the phrase that pays. All right. So there you go. I've just proved it. I'm meta teaching. All right. Once you've done that, you give them examples of what you're teaching in real life. Okay. So how do people use this in real life? If you go to any, so for example, if I'm doing it for some of my talks or my trainings, or I will say, look, go to any amazing speaker or TED Talk speaker, or if you go and look at someone like Les Brown, what have they got? They have phrases that pays. They have phrases that they're remembered for. Look at some of your top comedians. When people see that comedian, they go, oh, look at that. It's somebody gonna get hurt real bad or something like that. Or if you think of Friends and Joey, it's like, how you doing? There's a line that people are remembered for because they've repeated it multiple times. So you're giving them an example in real life that they can relate to, that demonstrate what you've just taught. So if I'm sharing why you should use the phrase that pays, I'm sharing with you a couple of examples in real life where people have used phrases and that you're aware of. So you give examples in real life. And all of this is about solidifying the learning. They've had a story, you're relating it to their real life. So all these are just connecting different parts of the mind so that you are a much more effective trainer, you are getting better results, and so much more. Now, this is now we're going into the how section of the format system. Okay, so how do they do this? So what I would do is, if you're demonstrating something, I would do a demonstration. Now, for me in this presentation, this whole presentation has been a demo, right? I'm teaching you while doing this. So I'm already doing the demonstration. Now, so if you're doing a live class, once you've done a demonstration, I'd ask a question and say, okay, so what have you been learning so far? What have you been taking away? And then we just maybe, do you have any questions, etc. And we talk about after I've done the demonstration, and so we're getting you to verbalize it. Again, all of this can, like, we're stacking all the ways that people learn, because when they verbalize, they're learning as well. So, and then finally, I give a structured exercise. Like if you're in a workshop, once you've done a demonstration, if we were live, I just sort of say, okay, now what I'd like you to go and do is I want you to come up with a hook just to open. I'd like you to talk about why you're doing something, like why the information you're sharing is valuable, what it is that you're sharing, how to share it. That's it. I don't know. I'll give them 4 steps. Go and do it. Okay. So I give them a structured exercise to do. You give people a structured exercise to do. And then we come into the what if section. Now, the what if section is just basically, how do you apply this knowledge? So when I talk about cleanup, they come back from a demonstration. People come back from doing an exercise, and people will have questions. They'll have a couple of challenges. They made a couple of mistakes and they want to ask about it. So after you send people to do a little bit of an exercise, get people to come back and then talk to them about it and go, okay, so what went right? Okay, what challenges do you have? What questions do you have? And usually people will have a couple of questions, and you can just clean up, like help people resolve and find out why what issues they might have had, right? So then you clean up. So this is the what if, but then you summarize and generalize. So when I say summarize, you say, okay, so what we've learned is that in order for you to take people through a journey that gets your message really remembered and referred and rewarded, that you got to take them through 4 main stages. You got to share the why this information is important. You got to take them through the what, And as you take them through the what, share a story. Tell them what you're going to learn through a story. The what, the how. How are you going to do it? Maybe give them a demonstration, etc. And then the what if, like how can they use the information, right? So this is me summarizing, and I'm sharing with you how I would summarize. And then I generalize. I'd say, look, think of it this way. Next time you're having a workshop, use this. In fact, if you're sharing with anybody, like a friend or whatever, you can use a simplified version, or you can create a day-long workshop that kind of follows this format. It really is very flexible in how you use it. So I'm generalizing the experience that the person could potentially go through in order to learn all these things. So summarize and generalize. And then future pace. What is a future pace? So basically I'm saying to them, okay, look, imagine 6 months from now. Imagine 6 months from now, when you're at your training, and okay, I said, like, well, go and ask Mama. We'll see. Gotta love a live video. And then you future pace. And in a future pace, you say to someone, okay, and imagine your next training. Imagine seeing yourself at your next training doing this. And so you're giving them examples of how they will do it in their future. You get them to imagine themselves using it in their future. Because what happens is the brain doesn't distinguish between something that is vividly imagined and something that's real. So you're creating a future memory of them using it. So the next time that they have an opportunity, their brain will automatically associate using your technique. So that's why you future pace. All right. So and then once you've done that, you finish up by just tickling the unconscious mind and reminding them to package all of this learning into this one phrase that pays. Okay, into this one phrase. And then every time they say the phrase, it kind of reminds them of this whole lesson. And that's and plus it's entertaining because you've brought something back. People love when you bring something back. So and you can say something and remember the phrase that pays. And then they'll remember the phrase that pays. So with that, I want to thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is a very, very, very powerful training format, and will get you powerful results when you are training people, when you want to help people to take the information, to be remembered, to actually apply, to naturally, instinctively apply it in their life and get results. And that's what's going to get you remembered, get you referred, get you rewarded, is when you give people results and you help people retain the information. So with that, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, phrase that pays. All right. Take care, everyone. I'll catch you in another episode real soon. Bye for now.